Hello everyone, welcome to our presentation. I'm Elacia Linder.
I'm Jalen Grady.
I'm Calvin Rivera.
I'm Korea Tate.
I'm Carlise Brown.
During these 6 weeks, we were tasked with renovating the Huff Library, which is now relocating. With that, before we even started the project, we went to different buildings and companies to get an idea of what we wanted to try and ideas of what we actually wanted to do. And we also, we surveyed the area, which, helped us find out what we were going to do with the project. So with all of that, we've created a space where, you can relax, kick back your feet or just get away from everything, express yourself, and we now call it the Huff Hub. I'll now pass it on to Jalen.
Yes. Okay, so the history of every place is special, and especially Huff. It was founded in 1873 and is actually one of Cleveland's oldest neighborhoods. After World War I, all of the millionaires moved out from air pollution from their own factories. And, and during the Second Great Migration, many people of color from the South moved up to the Midwest and made their home in Huff. And that's a problem because the population actually peaked in 1960s, and overcrowded housing created racial tension. In July of 1966, the tension boiled over into an incident we know as the Huff Riots. We really wanted to get away from this this negative perception of Huff and really improve the environment. Passing it off to, actually no. Passing it off to myself. Okay. So, the Huff site is currently on the south. The new Huff site will be built on the south side of Lexington, between the 66th and 65th Street. And there are already 2 existing community centers that exist in the neighborhood, and we wanted to make sure that we weren't adding something that was already there in the community. So we came up with something that we believed would bring in more money and improve the general perception of the Huff. Okay.
Okay. Oh wait, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Now we're talking about our current site conditions. Our current site, as you can see, is very small and it's very kind of boring and dull. And you'll see later in the project how we made it more lively, basically. And we also, as I mentioned earlier, we surveyed the lot, and we also talked to some of the residents. And they told us, we incorporated most of their ideas into the project. So yeah. Now we're talking about the RFP goals. We had to make sure that the area was adaptable so it could be used for many different things. We had to make sure there was a lot of green space, more green space than there already is, because we also looked around the area to look at the green space, and it's really just grass. So we wanted to make an interactive green space. We also had to make sure our cost estimate was within reasonable budget, because we weren't provided one. So we also had to make a concept rendering model, which you will see later in the project. Yeah. And here you go. This is Jalen.
Yes. Every project has its constraints and needs, and we had many. Being the limited space of the site, we had to we wanted to keep the pre-existing building. It would be more sustainable and cost-effective, and we needed to pitch our idea to our target demographic. And our needs were that we wanted to create a secure, fun space where people could just come in, relax, forget about all of their work, all of their daily struggle, and just have fun.
So before making changes to our original design, we were planning to include a memorial, a bioretention center, a playground, and we were planning to reuse the brick from the original building to make it more sustainable. On the right, as you can see, we have demolished the left section of the building, and we reused the area to make a pathway so that visitors can navigate through the site more effectively.
Yes. So our building's design went through several iterations. Our first one included a second floor. We wanted to make space for more amenities because we wanted to actually make a community center before we already figured out that we don't need one. There's already two perfectly good community centers in the Huff neighborhood. And we added a rooftop deck and changed the roof design to fit a postmodern aesthetic. In our second iteration, we kept that theme and wanted an open amphitheater to bring in more people from outside of Huff to come in. And in our third iteration, we went with the sustainable route and kept the original roof, the large facing windows, and we made it open. We want this space to be as inviting as possible, so we opened up the whole interior through the windows.
This is our current and final site plan. On the left, you can see our bioretention cell and also our parking, our handicap parking, to make it more accessible to the front of the building. Inside of our building, there is an art studio, a gallery, a snack and gift shop, and our utilities, off spaces, and bathrooms. On our green space for our building, in the top right, you will see our amphitheater. You will also see our chill cubes, our chill boxes that are scattered around our playground, and you will also see our playground accessible parking. Here are our site renderings. You can see the more of the parking and the building. Just grab that. Here is a closer look at our chill boxes and our playgrounds. It's a closer look of our amphitheater, tying into the patterns in our chill boxes. This is more of the open windows to incorporate more lighting into the buildings. Here is our bioretention cell and more of the artwork from the locals on the outside of the building that we want to incorporate.
Hi, I'll be talking about the interior design portion of our project. So for the first portion, we have an art studio, which we got inspired from the Art Studio Room 101 in the Tri-State Campus building. So here we have the wooden flooring going to the wooden seating area and to the walls. And the reason we came with wood because, it's easier to clean off when it comes to art. And then the inspiration of the furniture you see here. So for the purpose of our building, we wanted something to tie into mental and physical health, which art can help with that. And we also wanted to show our appreciation to the local Cleveland artists. Here are some ideas that we wanted to include. So some artists, we have Susie Frazier, Jamie Morris, Elaine Dorsey, and Ian Ross. And here's some of their artwork. And then for the interior material, we have wood for the flooring, the walls, and the seating area. We have metal for the roofing. And also for the exterior material, we have painted brick and corrugated metal. And then here's some inspiration for the art studio, which ties into the amphitheater.
Okay, so we wanted to monetize this space and bring in more money into the Huff community. So the ideas we came up with were a snack bar, a gift shop, and studio space that people can rent out and make their own creations.
Presenting our outdoor space, here are our brainstorming ideas from our green space. We wanted to gather our thoughts and collect the things that are already on our site and our visions. So we gathered them together and put them into categories. Categories like recycling, what we can and wanted to expand or add to. If it's not highlighted, we had no jurisdiction over it and we didn't want to change it or we couldn't change it. And the last section would be what we wanted to consider into our design and design around if we could move it. Our green space materials include metal, concrete, and wood chips. We used metal for the lampposts in the site. We used concrete for the pathways. We wanted to use wood chips for the playground just for the safety of the children.
Aside from the main building, we wanted to include an outdoor amphitheater, which also serves a entertainment purpose, as the main building does. But the difference between the amphitheater and the building is that the amphitheater has performances, which can be performed by local actors, musical events by local musicians, and plays that are also used by local actors. As you can see, the first top two pictures were our inspiration for our design, which you can see on the bottom left. But then we made changes because we wanted to be more practical and have more space so that people can move around it. For our playground design, as you can see on the first two pictures at the top, we were inspired by Edgewater Park Playground, and the bottom left was from Wade Oval University Circle, which also has a musical theme that ties into the amphitheater. For our bioretention design, we were inspired by the bioretention cell from Kinsman, as you can see on the top left, and the University Circle bioretention cell, which you can see on the bottom left. For our pathway design, we were inspired by different pathways, such as the one on the left, which is both sustainable and easy to navigate through. It is sustainable because it permits water to get down to the surface, which overall protects the environment.
Hey, now we'll be talking about our safety considerations. The safety considerations that we took were cameras, metal detectors, and security. The current cameras and metal detectors that are in the building will be reused for obvious reasons. We'll also be putting some cameras outside for, safety reasons, playground, amphitheater, and the pathways, which I'm gonna mention now. They were also curved and such, so the security can make their way through there without anything getting in their way, so they can, do the safety stuff. But yeah, okay.
Here is our cost analysis and estimate, which consists mostly of our amphitheater costs and our demolition costs for the inside of the building and the remodeling. Our total estimate is just over $500,000, and it also incorporates the labor totals. We are now open for questions.